bucks.
Yeah, I get it. Nah, look, I think Homer's entire point is Aaron Rodgers is done. Now, if you want to go into the loophole of the bet, something I usually don't do a good job of when betting with Homer. Typically, I just lose money to Homer. But I don't like that. Try and take advantage of him.
800-990-3776, the number to get into the show. We'll go to Rick in Oak Creek. Rick, welcome to Scalzo and Brust, presented by the world's greatest beer, Bud Light. What do you got?
Hi. Just a little point about the salary. Wouldn't you rather do it before June 1st? And the only reason I say that is it's already baked into the numbers. Next year, we're going to need all the money we can have. Why take $24 million and throw it into next year? And now we don't have as much money to spend in free agency next year. To be honest, after maybe 2 weeks after the draft in April, the second wave of, let's call it, free agency is already done. What are you going to pick up this year anyway?
No, it's a great call and question, Rick in Oak Creek. The real benefit for the Packers in a spot like that, for those that don't know, basically doing it post-June 1 allows you to spread that cap hit out between this year and next year. But it does also allow you to then go in and work out contract extensions like for a Rashawn Gary or for guys you want to keep around by front-loading that contract into this year and bonuses into this year and then being able to spread it out overall. And so that's the benefit for the Packers, is it gives them more flexibility in terms of how they can ultimately go ahead and take care of the guys they currently have. It's not, to your point, Rick, that you're going to go out and then spend that $15 million or whatever it is that you'd be able to move into next year on current free agents, but it certainly gives you more flexibility for what you can do year to year. And that tends to be the most advantageous for cap doctors like Russ Ball, is give me as much flexibility as possible, and then I can go and make things work around.
And even if they had more cap than the position they're in right now, the front end of free agency, like the most meaningful players that the Packers probably would have wanted for this roster to move forward with Jordan Love, are probably guys that are gone. Again, I think what you said earlier, Greg, is the biggest thing. My biggest takeaway is hearing from Joe Douglas from the Jets, their GM, saying there's not a whole lot of urgency. Conversations are positive. They're both working towards the same thing. They're not there yet, but it's not as if they're like, I didn't hear that they need to get it done before the NFL draft. And from that standpoint, Goody wants his picks. The Jets want their picks. And then after that June 1st, it's all right, what does the 2024 first-round pick look like? The second-round pick look like? You know, it's as much as it felt as if the Packers just needed to rip the Band-Aid off and move on from Aaron Rodgers, both sides aren't working in that pace, so this is leaning more towards your date of June 1st and after.
800-990-3776, again 800-990-ESPN. Joshy, any update on Goody when he's calling in?
No.
That's why he's the best in the business. Thank you, Joshy. 800
No, but I'm feverishly working on it.
Twitter at Scalzo and Brust. We posted a preemptive poll there with some total wins. We'll get to that. But again, with Goody getting ready to speak this afternoon in Arizona at the Biltmore, where I was just a few weeks ago.
Cool.
What do you want to hear from Goody? What do you think we will hear from Goody as well? Plus, we'll prognosticate exactly what's going on at the Biltmore in Arizona. It is Scalzo and Brust, presented by the world's greatest beer, Bud Light.
You're listening to Bud Light, Scalzo and Brust.
At Scalzo and Brust, check out the Long Island Laser, courtesy of our intern who put that together. I'm not sure he's the best graphic designer.
Yeah, it's not exactly Mozart. Why are you shocked?
Because he makes music.
Subscribe to the Scalzo and Brust podcast free on the Wisconsin On Demand app and wherever you get your podcasts.
There are no incidents on the road at the moment, but we're starting to see a little bit of backup on I-94 westbound. You'll be hitting the brakes from the St. Paul on-ramp all the way to the General Mitchell off-ramp. Everything else on the roads is all clear. Now for a look at your Storm Team forecast. Tonight, increasing clouds with a low of 28. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a high of 45. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Finn Askin on 94.5 ESPN.
Kessler's is America's largest employee-owned diamond store.
It's the diamond store where the owners think like you do.
As shoppers, we want better prices and more choices.
That's why we give you better prices and more choices.
We don't try to choose for you. We let you choose.
You can choose a diamond from a diamond mine.
A diamond as old as the earth itself.
You can choose a created diamond from a plasma chamber.
A diamond as new and fresh and sparkling as springtime.
And now you can choose a flickering firelight diamond.
Flickering firelight diamonds sparkle with a rich and regal golden glow.
At Kessler's, you choose from 3 different kinds of diamonds.
3 different kinds of diamonds.
Earth diamonds from diamond mines.
Created diamonds from plasma chambers.
And flickering firelight diamonds with a rich, regal golden glow.
We like to have choices, so we give you choices.
Kessler's is the diamond store where the owners think like you do.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Find the Kessler's nearest you at Kessler'sDiamonds.com.
Even when you think you know what's going on,
I want him to fail so bad.
All right, Chewy, I'm with you, and here's why.
You can never be too sure.
Because if Robert Saleh fails, he's going to get fired. Packers are going to need a new defensive coordinator.
There you go.
After their defense stinks this year, and they bring Robert Saleh to run the defensive green.
So we are all rooting against the Jets.
Packers, nonsense, chaos. Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, morning 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
What was the final straw for Jeff Levering?
When I walked into my son's room and there was frost on the hardware on the inside of the house. My wife was getting upset with the drafts coming through the doors. That was it.
Time to call Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
With all the options that Pella has, everybody on your staff has done a great job of making a really difficult decision super simple.
Order today and get 0% interest for up to 4 years. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Offer ends 3/31/2023.
Football guy.
Are you cutting me out of the show and talking to Jesse and, ignoring me?
Football guy.
We're going to take calls. You're not a fan. This is a fan-related question. This is
I can be optimistic about the team without cheering for the team.
Coming at it from different views.
Go ahead. You guys have a segment. Go right ahead.
What do you got, Jesse?
Hey, Tausch.
Oh,
how nice of you to give him airtime.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Weekdays 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN. And available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Here in Wisconsin, one name is synonymous with fantastic frozen pizza, Palermo's. For almost 60 years, Palermo's has focused on feeding Wisconsin families. And though Palermo's has grown a lot since 1964, they're still family-owned. They're still proud to call Milwaukee home. And they're still committed to making the best frozen pizza possible. From their new and improved rising crust pizzas to their guilt-free Primo thin pies, Palermo's has a delicious slice for every appetite. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer food aisle. Palermo's. Flavor is our family's business.
It's Gary Allison here from Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center. Looking for that midday escape from the office? Or maybe you want to impress a potential client? Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center offers a top-tech, cutting-edge golf experience that gives you the chance to play courses like St. Andrews, Whistling Straits, and more. Even when it's not perfect golf weather outdoors, Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center's simulators, entertainment, and their best Bloody Marys make it feel like summer. At just $35 an hour for a bay, Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center is the perfect weekday getaway. Book your bay today at WisconsinIndoorGolfCenter.com.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Bud Light and streaming live on Wisconsin On Demand.
Hey, little lady, I know you're feeling crazy. All your other friends are busy making them babies. Been out in the real world, don't like how it's tasting. Let me change your mind with my little old saying. 2, 4, 6, 8, who do we appreciate? Put some sugar in my water, cause we making Minute Maid. Forget all the hate, do a shimmy shake. Put the pedal to the metal on the interstate.
NFL meetings going on right now in Arizona. Jets make it clear, General Manager Joe Douglas, that there is no interest from the Jets in Lamar Jackson. He believes that would be disingenuous and negotiating in bad faith, making it very clear that this Jets organization is all in on Aaron Rodgers. That makes me believe that there's not a whole lot that's going to happen until post-draft, probably until post-June 1. We'll find out what we hear from Goody later on today, very shortly, I should say. I'm not exactly sure when he will be talking, but it should not be too long. We'll make sure we all tune in for that, as once again the NFL down in Arizona at the Biltmore for the NFL meetings. I was there a few weeks ago. They do make a delicious cocktail.
Cool.
Is that 4 references of being at the same place as the NFL owners and GMs?
Where
and
was
coaches?
it again, Greg?
It's the Biltmore. It's a very nice resort. Historical, actually,
Yeah,
Joshy.
you had some better facts about the Biltmore. Hasn't every president been there since, like, George Washington?
Do you know that George Washington, when he was president, Arizona wasn't a state?
Yes.
Okay.
Louisiana Purchase didn't even make Arizona a state, which was in the 1800s.
Nailed it. Who's the president for the Louisiana Purchase?
Don't push it.
Who was it?
I don't know.
It was number 3. It was the 3rd president of the United States.
Really? 3 was the Louisiana Purchase? Adams?
No, he was number 2.
That's close.
It's not close at all.
What do you mean it's not close? 2 versus 3?
You can't even name the first 4 presidents of the United States.
Washington, Adams, Lincoln's 15. Number 3.
I mean, it is.
Dude, I don't know why you're shocked. I mean, like, this is
Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson was the
I was
3rd
gonna ask
president.
for a hint.
James Madison, the 4th president. We can just fast forward all the way. Yes, many presidents have stayed there. I think until Barack Obama, through George W. Bush, there was about 100 years worth of presidents attending and staying at the Biltmore. What's interesting is I actually noticed one night after dinner that there's an additional line, like an additional tax on the bill, and it's a historical tax, basically, like a historical restoration tax that you pay an additional 1.5% or whatever your purchase is, that goes right into a fund that keeps the historical landmark in that fashion.
Did you feel good about that tax?
I did.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. Thank you for your service.
You should like that, bootlicker.
It was. Do you not know?
You've called Josh that a million times, and I was hoping that
Not
was
a million times. I called him it once.
No, he's called you that multiple times. I just figured
What do you think bootlicker means?
Like sucking up to the corporate world or something like that?
Yeah? But like what in what context did you just try to use it?
I don't know. Context that didn't work.
And during the break, Ben was looking as to how to spell the word egregious, and I started spelling it for him, and he goes, "Oh, I got it." And I said, "Was it autocomplete?" And he goes, "Yeah. So you should really turn that off. It'd help you." And he goes, "Why? Help me with spelling? Why do I need to help with spelling?" I said, "Just reading and writing. Like, that's important stuff. That's why. Like, that's a great example of you just pretending you know things that you don't actually know."
Learning how to spell bootlicker wouldn't have
Learning
gotten
how
me.
to spell things means that you actually know the words. If you knew how to spell something, it generally would mean you knew what it meant.
Why are you coming in here like a professor yelling
I'm
at
not
me?
coming in
It's
here
like
as a professor. You just, because you've torpedoed the segment 2 times now before we can even get going by using random things like bootlicker to call Joshy, even though it has nothing to do with corporate, with any corporation.
Well,
the only context I've called Joshy a bootlicker is that he is not for players' power or players' rights. He's for the team rights. He's an ownership guy.
Got it.
Yeah.
I put that together now. But also, I took it a step further. On Twitter, at Scalzo and Brust, you can see a hotel room of the Biltmore because Greg Scalzo stayed there. Right, Joshy? Do we know that Greg stayed there?
Cool.
And you told me a story. I don't even know the whole story other than the fact that I couldn't believe that they put the light switches where they put the light switches there. I mean, you should actually ask for a refund on some of the taxes that you paid for historical whatever, because it's the craziest thing that I've ever seen. On Twitter, at Scalzo and Brust.
You can find it on Twitter at Scalzo and Brust. We got there. It was a Thursday. We had an awesome day. Great night with a really cool event that the Milwaukee Brewers threw down there. We're down there for spring training. And afterwards, went back to the bar, shut the bar down. Our guy, Adam, like a straight-up West Coast 10. Like, this guy was handsome as all get up, was bringing it every night as a bartender. You know when you get, like, a great bartender with a good smile, and he's, like, got the shaker going, and he's jacked, and, like,
so strong.
Good personality. Just, like...
What was the hair like?
Great hair, like kind of West Coast style hair, like, done right, like, just all-around stud. And we finish up at the bar there, and we're like, hey, it's only midnight. You guys are closing down at midnight, which, again, I guess 800-990-3776. Which NFL coach at the Biltmore is closing down the bar on a nightly basis for NFL meetings? 800-990-3776. Text us, call us. there.
Would have been Cliff Kingsbury, but R.I.P. to his coaching career.
Could be. I think McVay's probably still in there, but you also have to look at some of the old codgers. Like I bet you Doug Peterson could take down a few.
lot of Scalzo and Brust Cedar Ridge whiskeys all night, bourbon.
Yeah, I could see him being a whiskey guy. So we wrap up, and we're like, hey, is there any way we could get our beers? Because we were in the cottages, beautiful cottages. I'm interested who's staying in my cottage that I was in. Thank you, Joshy. And we go back and we say, hey, Adam, can you hook us up with some beers? And his question to us, to give you an idea of how our day was going, is, there's 4 of us. And he goes, how many beers do you guys want? 40? 30? And we're like, no, dude, we need like 8. Like 12, like 2 or 3 beers a piece, and it ended up getting whittled down to 2 of us. We go back, we're sitting outside fire pit, drinking some Bud Lights, and smoking some stogies, and then we wrap up. It might be 2 in the morning or so, and I got back into my room, and it was probably 45 minutes of me stumbling around my room, and I wasn't even that out of it. I was just like literally looking on every wall in my hotel room to find out where the light switch was. And clearly, because I stayed there the night before, that the housekeeping staff had come in, cleaned the room, and turned on like the main bedroom light. So
you didn't turn that on when you initially got there.
So then I like do the whole lay down and just like, you know what? I'm just gonna grind through it. I'll sleep with the light on. Couldn't do it. So I get back up. I'm searching I called the front desk 100 times, but at this point it's past 3 in the morning. Nobody's answering me.
And At the Biltmore?
And I could not figure it out.
Unbelievable.
And it was like one of those hotel, I didn't use my cell phone. It was like the hotel front desk, and just jamming it. And then finally, I'm literally looking everywhere, and I look behind the TV, and sure enough, there's the switch. So you could find that on Twitter, at Scalzo and Brust.
It's fascinating.
Who's going to be the coach that was me? 800-990-3776. Let's go to Jake in Milwaukee. Jake, welcome to Scalzo and Brust, presented by the world's greatest beer, Bud Light. Yes, I had a few Bud Lights that night. What do you got?
I got a perfect coach that could close down a bar. I think Andy Reid would be awesome to close down a bar.
Yeah, I think Andy Reid might be better at closing down, like, the all-you-can-eat.
Say the buffet. Is that where you're going?
You just went with the most obvious joke and then pulled up on the punchline.
Because I felt mean attacking Andy Reid. He's won 2 Super Bowls now.
So if he didn't, you'd feel better about making fun of
him?
Yeah,
actually, the guy talks about food all the time. I think he would agree with that take. It's not even a joke.
Ryan in McGuanago chimes in and says, Brian Daboll looks like he can drink. I agree with that.
Dude, actually, that was my takeaway. Daboll looked really badass in the NFL coaches picture. He's really, really wide, got broad shoulders, means business. Big Daboll fan.
I feel like McVay throws him back, too. Just the overall energy, like the face is always a little flush, a little red, like he had a hot one the night before. He seems like a party guy.
Meanwhile, Matty Mouse is drinking, Pinot Grigio.
Well, that was supposed to be an insult, and I want to move past it, Greg. What do we think Matt LaFleur drinks?
I don't know if he does.
Is he a sober guy?
I don't know if he's a sober guy. I would say if I had to put a bet on it, I would say Matty LaFleur is a 1 or 2 beer kind of guy, and that's it.
I got him at seltzers.
And then he retires.
I got him as a seltzy guy.
You can't be at the NFL coaches meeting. Like we've come a long way.
Put that on the poll. Can you be at the NFL coaching meeting and be one of the coaches drinking a seltzer?
We've come a long way. We've come a long way in the world in 2023. You can't be the coach at the NFL coaches at the NFL meetings in Arizona and be the one that's like, excuse me, what's the seltzer selection here? You can't do it. Can't do it.
You see, that's the thing, is I think some of these young guys might
who?
Like the McVays.
McDaniel.
McVay.
McDaniel for sure.
No.
Yeah, he's a tequila guy.
So.
I don't.
You just call him a pothead?
Yeah, he talks about it openly.
Josh McDaniels?
No, Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel.
The Dolphins head coach.
Got it. All right. I don't think there's a lot of seltzer guys out there. Shanahan doesn't strike me as a seltzer guy. He strikes me as a neat liquor guy.
I was gonna say he's pretty hardcore.
Yeah. McVay strikes me as a mixed drink guy. Harbaugh?
I still can't say their last name. It's been 3 years. Harbaugh.
LaFleur, 1 or 2 and done.
He's just a zero, man. Can I just say it? LaFleur's a zero in every way.
I feel like he's a guy who holds a beer and then finds a way to dump it out and not really drink it, and then he's like one of the first ones there. It's just
It's too warm.
early morning tomorrow, boys, and he just is out.
For sure. That glass has to be chilled to like the perfect temperature. Everything's got to be right for Matty if he's going to drink.
Ryan McGuanago says LaFleur coaches like he's a Shirley Temple guy.
Sure does, man. Matty's going to have a big year. Or it's a big year for Matty. I don't think he's going to have a big year because I got the Packers under 7.
I think Belichick might be a guy who can drink everybody under the table and nobody would suspect it. Has to be.
Why? Because he's won 6 championships?
Just grew up in the NFL in an era where you had to have that skill in your back pocket, I feel. You don't think him and Parcells were like getting after it? Not in like a fun, like music kind of way, in like a we're going to stay here and finish this bottle kind of way.
Why does it when I think of Mike McCarthy, I just think of Jesse Nelson?
You're literally just making jokes to yourself right now and then laughing at them.
I know.
Hey, I added this new thing, and I was going to bust it out but when Ben makes a joke that nobody else laughs at, I'm just going to hit this button from now on.
I like it. Who's the coach that everybody dislikes, and then like as soon as he walks away, everyone's like, "Oh my God, thank God."
Probably the Vikings head coach. That guy seems like a dweeb.
No, Kevin O'Connell, I don't think so. He's part of that young hip crowd. I think it might be Josh McDaniels, not Mike McDaniel, which is like a whole they're like two different guys. I have a feeling Josh McDaniel's not super well liked.
Not respected.
Doug Peterson kind of looks like a nerd almost, but I don't know. Him and Frank Riker boys. Bet it gets pretty clicky there.
Eberflus. Just a stupid name. Dang it, here comes the drop.
I could walk by Matt Eberflus in the street and have no idea who he is.
Tend to agree there.
800-990-3776. Again, 800-990-ESPN. We'll keep an eye out for when Goody does speak to hear what he has to say. What do you want to hear from Goody? What do you think we will hear from Goody? Plus, we'll get into some over-under for Packers-Jets win totals as those got released this morning. 1 or 0 coming up next. It's Scalzo and Brust presented by Bud Light.
You're listening to Bud Light, Scalzo and Brust.
Go ahead, Ben.
No, look.
You try your best. You got it.
That was so mean. It's not even funny how mean that was.
Scalzo and Brust.
Josh, answer the phone.
Subscribe and listen to full show podcasts available free on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
94 eastbound is back to no delays, but we're now seeing 43 southbound slow down quite a bit because of a crash at 43 south just past the Silver Spring on-ramp. The right lane is currently blocked. You'll be seeing about a 13-minute delay from Good Hope Road all the way down to Hampton. You'll also be tapping the brakes heading northbound on 43. Things are slowing down from Highway 190 up to Silver Spring. Everything else is all clear on the roads. Traffic is brought to you by the Neal Group. They know how to minimize your taxes to keep more money in your pocket. Visit nealgroup.net. That's Neal Group.net. Time for a look at your Storm Team forecast. Tonight, increasing clouds, a low of 28. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a high of 45. From WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Finaskin on 94.5 ESPN.
Ready for our little forest adventure?
Yes!
There's a forest closer than you think. Find a park or forest near you and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by USDA Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Show me your Guinness. We want to see you enjoying Guinness pints this month at your favorite Milwaukee area establishments. Take a picture with your Guinness, scan the QR code, and enter to win amazing prizes all month when you show me your Guinness.
Kevin Red here from Mentality Men's Health. We hear stories every day in our clinics that what used to work for guys doesn't anymore. Increased cardio, cut out certain food, nothing stops the changes in their bodies, especially the weight. The fact is, years of decreasing testosterone has packed on the belly fat that won't go away. We've introduced a medication, semaglutide, that helps drop 15% of the body weight on average while preserving testosterone. Join the over 20,000 Mentality clients and jumpstart your results. In Milwaukee, go to lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
Magoo's on the Mound is your game day headquarters. Located on 59th and Blue Mound, just minutes from the ballpark. Magoo's has food options for everyone and a vast selection of craft beers and cocktails. Enjoy some drinks and watch all the games with your buds. Or stay entertained with pool, darts, trivia, poker, or live music. Plus, Magoo's on the Mound offers plenty of free parking and shuttles to all home games for the crew. Check out their food and drink menu as well as upcoming events at magoos.biz. That's magoos.biz.
The workplace has changed a lot thanks to technology, and more recently, the shift to a flexible or remote schedule. Your business must adapt to maintain a great culture, attracting quality candidates and keeping them. You need Smart Spaces. The team of interior integrators at Smart Spaces brings creativity and expertise, assessing the walls, ceiling, lighting, flooring, furniture, and audiovisual systems to create places that matter in the modern world, fully functional for those in the building and for others to interact remotely. Get started today at smartspaceswi.com.
This Monday on the Tee is back. I'm Gabe Neitzel, and I'll be joined by Bally Sports Wisconsin Stephen Watson as we break down another full year of golf, not just on the PGA Tour, but also here in the state of Wisconsin. We'll have the match play to react to. Plus, what does this new proposed ball rollback by the USGA mean for you and your game every weekend? We'll break it all down and all season long. It's On the Tee, and it's Monday nights at 6 right here on 94.5 ESPN.
Make your statement with Fast Signs of Glendale. You have an idea, and Fast Signs of Glendale can make it happen. 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee works with Fast Signs of Glendale on their vehicle lettering, studio and event signage, and much more. Your company should consider Fast Signs of Glendale with your next custom sign project. Big or small, they can do them all. See their work at fastsigns.com. That's fastsigns.com. Fast Signs of Glendale, proud marketing partner of 94.5 ESPN.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Missed any of the show? Find us on Wisconsin On Demand wherever you get your podcasts. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's for you.
Are you listening? Whoa. Sing it back. Straight from your tether unwinds.
Scalzo and Brust presented by the world's greatest beer, Bud Light, keeping you up to date on all things going on in Arizona, where the NFL meetings are going on right now. Jets making it clear there is no Lamar Jackson path. Although, somebody messed with my talk and text line. Sorry, it took me a second here.
I was going to say that.
Mark in Janesville said, listening to the Lamar Jackson news, I have a hunch the Jets switch gears and go for him with a more long-term goal. So maybe the Jets are throwing up a smoke screen, according to Mark in Janesville. I don't think that'll be the case, and I'm not wrong, right? One of you guys read these text messages here?
I have not touched them.
I might have done it when I switched over. I got a bunch of tabs going here.
I'm not mad, but yes. So.
But cut it.
I didn't do it intentionally.
All right. Let's get to some 1 or 0s.
Are you a 1 or a 0? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Are you a yes or a no?
There's no such thing as a gray area. Life is binary. It's just a 1 or a 0.
He's Ben Brust. I'm Greg Scalzo. We're your contestants for 1 or 0. Josh DiMaggio, your host. He's asking us, he asked us a question. We say 1 for yes, 0 for no. There is no gray area. Benny, do you need glasses? Because you have your face, and you can watch us on the stream right now. On Twitter, at Scalzo and Brust, at ESPN Madison, at ESPN Milwaukee, at ESPN Beaver Dam. Our video is probably up across all those handles, and now you can watch us on the Wisconsin On Demand app. Just hit the Watch Live tab. You can watch us right there, and you can see Ben Brust legitimately putting his face 3 inches away from the paper on the table. And not up, bringing the paper up to his head.
No, I leaned over.
Yes. Joshy, what do we got today?
Today, Robert Saleh made his first appearance with media where he refused to say Aaron Rodgers' name, named Zach Wilson the number 2 quarterback, and said he was intrigued at the idea of doing a darkness retreat himself. 1 or 0. Rodgers is going to own Saleh like he did Matt LaFleur.
I'm going to go with 0. I love the way that the head coach is already trying to form a bond with their future quarterback and having an open mind towards some things Aaron Rodgers likes to do. I don't know if we ever heard Matt dive
We
deep.
did. And you picked on Matt for trying to impress Aaron Rodgers with his books and telling him what he was reading.
I'm talking about going into like beyond books, like Panchakarma, ayahuasca, Darkness Retreat. At least Salah's going there, and I appreciate him for that. Also, Salah's not a guy that I don't think you can just walk over. Some people have that stature and that nature. When you look at them, it's just like, you're not going to walk over that guy.
Well, what's interesting about Salah and LaFleur is they are very close. Now, it doesn't mean you're the same type of person, right? You've got, you could have best friends that one goes home early in the night and the other one stays out all night.
We're pretty close. We're pretty different.
We could be different, yes. But so I was thinking as we were talking about all the coaches hanging out at there's this beautiful circle bar at the Biltmore. It's awesome. Like you walk out of the lobby, it's gorgeous. There's TVs all around, fire pits, the whole deal. That's where our guy Adam worked, straight again, Arizona, like Phoenix 10. And that's where he was serving up drinks there. I view Salah as a guy that's there pounding beers the entire time. Never getting drunk, but just pounding beers. You
He's
know those
like the
guys?
Terminator.
Yeah, who's just like, yep, I'll have another Bud Light, another Bud Light, another Bud Light. And he's sociable, but like he's one of those guys where you're like, man, he just keeps taking these down. But like,
I know that guy.
Meanwhile,
I think that's Vrabel.
Both of them?
Both of them.
Yeah, they're probably doing it together, honestly.
And then McVay
combined 10,000 Bud Lights and doesn't even feel like it.
And then McVay's like a me where he gets 2 drinks in him. He's permagrin and like talking loud and like super energized. But I think that's where I go with Salah. What?
Did you just compare yourself to Sean McVay, the Super Bowl winning head coach of 2 years ago?
There was a lot other coaches I could have that would have been
Who I remind you of?
You?
Yeah, as an NFL head coach.
Joshy, I think that's a great jumping off point for the Scalzo and Brust family. 800-990-3776. What NFL head coach does Ben Brust remind you of?
Oh, God. Be nice.
Who would you say?
Brandon Staley.
Come on! My decision-making's better than that. I would just do opposite of him.
I think this one doesn't make sense at all, but makes all the sense in the world, and it's Dan Campbell.
What?
Like, if you, instead of a basketball guy, were a football guy, I think you'd be Dan Campbell.
Win in the trenches guy? Just building up a big offensive line, defensive line?
Joshy, could you not see him in a locker room speech yelling, biting off people's kneecaps?
With the amount you've talked about Matt LaFleur being a mouse,
I'd have to be the anti.
That's exactly the way Dan Campbell talks about Matt LaFleur in the locker room.
If Dan Campbell's the anti-Matt LaFleur, I'm Dan Campbell.
I'll say this, 0. Rodgers isn't going to own Salah like he did LaFleur because it's not going to get to that point. Like, this isn't, like, they're entering a relationship at an entirely different point in his career than LaFleur did. And if you think about the first couple years with LaFleur, it was all hunky-dory. You think about those first few years with McCarthy, all hunky-dory. I don't think this thing's going to last long enough for it to get sour.
Winner 0. Aaron Rodgers functions best with yes men around.
0.
This is a leading question.
Yeah, it's honest, fair, and balanced.
Don't do these, Greg.
What do you mean?
This is a Josh. One in Josh's mind.
Yeah, but you fight misinformation and idiocy with logic. With logic and fact.
Okay, Ben Shapiro.
Whoa. Too far.
My bad.
Thank you for the apology. No, it's a 0. He does not function best with yes men around.
When asked if Aaron Rodgers would be attending
you just ran right by that.
Salah said that the QB and coordinator have a great rapport already, and there's no urgency because the quarterback understands the system, referring to Rodgers seemingly indicating to the team he does not plan to attend OTAs. Winner 0. Rodgers will face harsher criticism from New York media if the Jets start the season slowly.
I mean, by the nature of just being in a different market, I think Green Bay's media would be looking for every excuse possible to let Aaron Rodgers know why the start that was not his fault. That's just the nature of who we have covering 1265. I'm not taking out one person or anybody. I'm just taking out all of them, I guess. New York's just got way more people, and they don't care about Aaron Rodgers' feelings or if he's happy to be in New York or what situation he's in. If they're not winning, they're going to get after him.
I mean, yeah, it's a bad one. Or there's no, he will face less criticism if they start slowly than quickly. Like, of course he's going to face more criticism. Another leading question.
1-0. Aaron Rodgers thinks he's above the offseason program.
Oh, my God.
I'm done
This
with
was
Josh.
a self-serving
You're
1-0 if I've ever seen one.
Ben, pick one of your favorites here and ask.
All right, I'm going to read them. Video's gone viral of a pizza delivery driver yelling at a customer for keeping her waiting for 15 minutes, despite the delivery driver calling and saying she was 2 minutes away. You see me nail that with the spelling error? The driver yelled that time is money, and they were wasting her time. 1-0, time is money.
These are horrible, Josh.
I mean,
time is money, 1-0?
It's an important question.
All right, this one's actually good. On the Joe Rogan podcast, former NFL D lineman Derek Wolfe said he would combine Adderall with psilocybin.
That's spelt right, by the way.
Mushroom before games to go into rage mode. 1-0, you try to get into rage mode before shows every day.
0, but I kind of want to. Should we do that every day now?
Are we allowed?
Well, no, we're not going to do it taking Adderall and mushrooms, but we could, I don't know.
Rage mode, engage.
Eat a bunch of gummy bears, drink some Water Joe, and pop on down here.
Buzz and Berry, Water Joe. I'm in. Yeah, Josh, F- today.
Just because you guys didn't want to answer the hard-hitting questions, the fair and balanced hard-hitting questions.
What was the last one? Thinks he's above the offseason program? 0. Get out of here.
Then why doesn't he go?
I hope he shows up on April 17th to
Packers.
Lambeau Field. That'll be interesting.
Okay.
This is the one
Teddy
thing
from Watertown chimes in and says, Josh is Hackett today. Not great, Joshy. Because we compare everything and everybody to NFL head coaches as the NFL meetings are going on in Arizona. Benny's getting a lot of one particular person, and it tends to be Mike McDaniel. And I don't know if that's because of your propensity for Buzz and Berry and BioSpectrum Hemp.
Well, BioSpectrum Hemp is amazing. If you're going to commemorate me for that, it's because the Delta 9 THC gummies are providing the happy hour without the hangover. That's how I'm coming, in here today on this Monday. Without that hangover they used to have when I was in my late 20s, early 20s, right? I got my friends at BioSpectrum Hemp, where I can do the $12.95 for 5 gummies of the Buzz and Berry. Yes, you heard it. And for all the people that are comparing me to Mike McDaniel, they should go to biospectrumhemp.com and use promo code BRUST30 for 30% off for all of your CBD and hemp wellness needs. From biospectrumhemp.com, the dog treats amazing. Dog had a weird weekend, right? So he's a little bit anxious. Going home, give him a CBD treat. We're knocking out together. BioSpectrumHemp.com, BRUST30, 30%
Can the people
off.
who didn't compare you to Mike McDaniel still applies to them too, right?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes. Open to all
Because you very
customers.
specified it, like for the people who compared me to Mike McDaniel, but that deal is available even if people weren't comparing you to Mike McDaniel.
Yes, Greg.
Okay,
Thank you
because
for the clarification.
there are some other suggestions coming in here as well. Texan and Racine offended says Ben wishes he was Dan Campbell. That's blasphemy. Also, if you want to go into rage mode, just double scoop pre-workout, obviously.
Avi.
Hilsey chimes in and says Benny is Josh McDaniel. Not great, I would say.
I mean, that's not creative, Hilsey.
Who do you want to be, Ben?
Let me answer that on the other side.
You're listening to Bud Light, Scalzo, and Brust.
Are we done?
Yes.
Yep. Moving on.
Aaron Rodgers did talk earlier today. Oh, Josh!
Come on now!
Josh!
Come on, you hound dog, you! Grind on time.
All right. What do we... Come on!
You ain't ever gonna have ain't no friend of mine.
I'm good.
Go.
No,
I want to hear it full.
No, I only know that part.
Scalzo and Brust.
All time. Crying all the time.
Nothing but a hound dog.
Nothing but a hound all the time. Come on, everybody. Yeah, we're going to
Subscribe and listen to full show podcasts available free on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
At least twice as big.
As the one you gave her when you got engaged.
That's the definition of a big anniversary diamond.
Kessler's has lots of ways for you to go twice as big.
We have twice as big diamonds from diamond mines.
These diamonds come from the fiery heart of Mother Earth. And the ones that exist in the world today are all there will ever be.
Kessler's also has twice as big created diamonds.
These diamonds come from the fiery heart of a ball of lightning, a miniature star, inside a plasma chamber. It's a wonder to behold.
Kessler's also has twice as big flickering firelight diamonds.
These natural diamonds flicker with all the warm colors of firelight instead of the cold colors of ice. Flickering firelight diamonds are another wonder to behold.
And all of these twice as big diamonds are for her.
The best wonder to behold of all. Welcome to Kessler's.
To find the Kessler's nearest you, go to Kessler'sDiamonds.com.
Just because the buzzer hits doesn't mean the game ends. Highlights.
Holiday back to Giannis, and Giannis will staple it through with a two-hand jam.
Reaction.
Bucks have been very good. So we're talking about 3 months now that the Bucks have been the best team in the league, and the Bucks and the Sixers have been the 2 best teams by a wide margin.
Your thoughts.
Take care of the glass. We need to do that, and we did it in the fourth quarter.
Nobody knows the Bucks like Justin Garcia. Catch Bucks Talk after every game right here on 94.5 ESPN.
Reel in the deals at Fleet Farm's Fishing and Marine event, going on now. From licenses to lures, stock up on everything you need for fishing season in one stop. Like Rapala Rap V-Blade crankbaits. Pick up 3 for just $9.99. Shop our huge selection of rods, reels, electronics, and apparel. And check out top brands like Rapala, Berkeley, Garmin, and Striker. Get it all during the Fishing and Marine event at Fleet Farm, your fishing headquarters.
Find the top brands, inspiration, and great value you need to own your style now at Macy's VIP sale. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off spring trends and updates. Plus, get 15% off this season's go-to beauty, skincare, fragrances, and more. And don't miss out on limited time specials. Going on now at Macy's. Savings off regular sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs.
I never thought I'd care about gardening until I bought a house in the suburbs. But now I find myself in conversations about liquid fertilizer, and I wonder, am I the fertilizer guy now? No way. Everyone knows the ratio between phosphorus and nitrogen, right? Yeah, I'm still totally cool.
Anyway, when you save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto, that's the easy part of adjusting to the suburbs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Bud Light and streaming live on Wisconsin On Demand.
The NFL meeting's going on right now in Arizona at the beautiful Biltmore Resort down there. I stayed in a few weeks ago.
You're reaching Ben Brust levels of annoyance.
It's like 5 different pools there. Great gym, nice pickleball courts.
Do they have a lazy river?
No lazy river.
Oh. No, not at the Biltmore, Josh. That's too...
That is a little...
It's a little, cheapy.
Good water slide, swim-up bar, adult pool. Great bar. Bartender Adam. Whew. Ben Brust, Greg Scalzo, Josh DiMaggio, the Scalzo and Brust family. And with all the coaches down there, we're like trying to figure out who's who. What is Matt LaFleur doing down there? Does he get along with everybody? What's he drinking? Is Robert Saleh? Like, what's the dynamics? And it led to the question of who's Ben as an NFL head coach. We're getting a lot of Mike McDaniel of the Miami Dolphins. That's what Chef Ed says. Josh DiMaggio compared to Nathaniel Hackett for performance in 1 or 0 today. Teddy from Watertown says Brust is McDaniel, fun and charming when he's on the winning side, but cringe when on the losing side of the argument. Also says Scalzo has better hair than McVay. Thank you. You can stream us, by the way, on Twitter at Scalzo and Brust.
You just looked right into the camera.
You haven't noticed that, Ben?
No.
Of course we played in the camera.
If he's giving a good take, he'll look directly in the eye of the camera.
Am I not supposed to do that? Like, I feel like that's
Stephen A. Scalzo over here.
I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do.
This is what the Packers did to do.
No, that's more you, because Sadler and Madison says Benny looks like a PE coach with a hot head at a local elementary school. And then
Sadler.
And then follows that up and just says Benny looks like Bobby Knight. Ryan and McGuanago says Ben is Cliff Kingsbury.
I'll take that. Get me paid, get me out of there after 3-4 years, and I can just go be free.
Just look hot and suck at your job.
Sure. I would love to get paid millions to suck at my job.
Okay. Hillsy chimes
Sorry,
in.
I would love to look at the camera.
The camera doesn't work. Says LaFleur joked a couple years back that 12 drove him to drink a lot of wine. He might just be a Pinot guy after all.
Good call by Benjamin.
Look into that one if you want to do it.
All right, you ready?
That one's working again.
You ready for
Yeah.
You ready for the unveil?
Or go hold.
You guys messed it all up. I am Kyle Shanahan. I mean, you didn't even give me a chance to say why. Pampered, right? Comes from like the family that probably had everything they needed ever growing up. I won't hide from that. I had a good childhood growing up, probably like Kyle Shanahan. He's like 6'3", like me. So he's tall.
6 feet tall, dude.
He's my height. He's the most creative football mind.
He's not your height. You can't even pass that off.
This is my moment. This is my moment.
Okay.
Tall, handsome, creative. Has not won a championship. I never won a championship, but he's gotten close. I just feel like I'm Kyle Shanahan. I embody the way that he coaches as well. Very, very good players coach. I feel like I could relate to the guys, and that's all I got.
Josh?
People consider him to be one of the greatest football minds and very smart. Where do we go with that part?
That's exactly why I chose him. I may be 4-11 in Are You Smarter Than Ben Brust this year against adults, or is that against children?
That's children. You're 3-11 against adults.
No, 3-10 because he's got a
two
loss against the children. He's 1-1 against children so far this year, which drastically improves the win percentage. But yes, 1-1. Mitchell in Sheboygan Falls says Matt LaFleur's drink of choice is probably grenadine. JJ in Poinette says Jim Harbaugh would be closing down the bar if anybody, although he's not in the NFL at the moment.
Would he? Is Harbaugh?
I don't think he's a close down the bar guy.
Not a chance.
Guy. Yeah.
You can't wear like the khaki outfit and be like a fun close the bar.
But here's the thing:
guy.
is Harbaugh is like everyone's at the bar, and again, it's a beautiful center bar, and then there's a big lawn, and then you get to the adult pool, and to the other side there's the kids, the main pool. But he's the guy when everyone's out drinking like 11:15, he just walks out of his room and walks right across completely like shirtless in workout pants and sneakers, and you're like, "Where are you going, Jim?" And he's like, "Gotta get some work in," and you're like. And then he just walks into the darkness. Like, he's that kind of guy.
It's a very descriptive Jim Harbaugh.
Alan in Milwaukee, there's a lot of rumors, and we don't need to go down the history of him climbing trees and whatnot. Alan in Milwaukee says, closing the bar. There's no way Dan Campbell's closing any bar at last call. He's smashing beer cans on his head and leading everyone to an after party down the street like a Louisiana Mardi Gras pep band.
Yeah, the hard part about the Dan Campbell comparisons to me is he's massive. That guy looks like you touch him and you break. He may be there too.
Ron in the Key says Ben is Rex Ryan.
I don't have a foot fetish though.
I don't know. He knows more about you than I do, I think. So I don't know. Maybe you do.
That's not true. You know me more than Ron knows me.
You're probably right. Chris in Middleton says, sorry, Benny, you're more like Chris or Jack Del Rio. So a lot of other ones coming in. Austin and Whitefish Bay, thank you for telling me my hair looks incredible. I appreciate that. 800-990-3776. Again, 800-990-ESPN.
We've created a monster.
We can't have Greg tipping his non-existent cap to the camera.
Who thought that Greg would like the cameras more than me? That's an upset in itself.
Sorry that one of us knows how to play the camera, Mr. Benny Bally, on TV on Friday.
Sorry, I'm a natural. Jeez, you stare at it and like, sup, look at my hair.
I don't stare at it at all. It's just when I want to make contact with the person out there.
So
I make contact.
Who had said that?
That's Austin and Whitefish Bay.
So Austin and Whitefish Bay, just know that when you go to the stream, Greg is like eye blanking you when
just
you
that
say
one
that.
time, just for that one look. We're buddies. Don't worry about it. You're good. You don't have to get. Why is Ben getting weirdly jealous right now?
A little bit.
Yeah.
How?
I'm supposed to be the camera guy.
Yeah.
And look at the camera.
Also, you're getting a lot of compliments on your hair, and I don't like it.
That might be how Packers fans feel about Aaron Rodgers and the Jets in a few weeks. The Vegas odds came out. We got new updated win totals. These aren't from the brains of Gabe Neitzel, Mark Chmura, Jason Wilde. This is from the brains of Las Vegas. The over-under total that you could bet on for the Green Bay Packers and the New York Jets. We'll ask you which one you like better. That's next. It's Scalzo and Brust, presented by the world's greatest beer, Bud Light, and streaming on the Wisconsin On Demand app.
Weather is brought to you by Great Lakes Dragway. The weather outside may be frightful, but the track at Great Lakes Dragway is heating up ahead of the 2023 race season. Find season passes and race schedules at GreatLakesDragway.com.
43 southbound from Brown Deer all the way down to Hampton is still running super slow. That crash just beyond Silver Spring is causing about a 55-minute delay there. 43 northbound is also seeing some delays at the moment, taking about 7 minutes longer than usual from downtown up to Brown Deer. Everything else on the roads is all clear for your commute. Now for a look at your Storm Team forecast. Tonight, increasing clouds with a low of 28. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a high of 45. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Finn Eskin on 94.5 ESPN.
Cedar Ridge Distillery continues to make a home right here in Wisconsin. The original 86 bourbon is the best-selling bourbon in Iowa for 3 straight years, and you have the opportunity to get that here in Wisconsin. Also, the quintessential, the best American single malt, voted by John Barleycorn Awards, and Cedar Ridge manages every step of the production from grain to glass. Make sure you pick up the Scalzo and Brust private barrel of bourbon and rye whiskeys, available at Discount Liquor at 51st in Oklahoma or Barstow in Maine in downtown Waukesha.
A wide array of opportunities abound at Waste Management.
I've been with Waste Management for 11 years now. I started out in our call center, transitioned over to our dispatch department, and I am a supervisor in my current role. I've worked for companies where a lot of the promotions are based on seniority. It's never been that. It's about proving yourself, getting in there, showing that you're comfortable, you're confident, you're ready for the challenge. There's been a lot of room for growth.
Join the Waste Management family. Just search online, Waste Management Careers.
Show podcasts, team-centric feeds, and listening live whenever, wherever. All of that in the palm of your hand. The Wisconsin On Demand app, available in the Apple or Android App Store. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust. For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust. For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust. For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust.
Live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue.
Party, baby.
This is Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light.
It's a party, baby.
On 94.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
It's a party, baby. Woo! It's a party, baby.
I like the video stuff, but it's getting a little scary as Ron and the Key on the text line is making fun of me because I was blowing into my iPhone hole like it was like a Nintendo cartridge, as he says. He said it's not a Nintendo cartridge, but like I feel like it's not getting a good charge regularly. It's not any particular charger.
Fix that for you, Greg.
You can?
Yeah. It's just lint, pocket lint. Happens.
So
you will need a pin to take it out of there, though.
So then I was blowing on it, but now everybody could see it during break. Like people are just
Don't blow
spying on
on
us.
it. Bad idea.
Was he blowing into the charger hole or like the hole?
Yes.
Hold on. What are the other holes, do you think?
Those are the speaker holes.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nope, the charger hole because the charge wasn't holding on there. Ben Brust, Greg Scalzo, Josh DiMaggio, Scalzo and Brust, presented by the world's greatest beer. Ben, where did we get our lines emailed to us from Vegas?
That was Jimmy Shapiro.
Our guy Jimmy Shapiro out in Vegas, he does email us lines regularly. I was trying to give credit to the actual site and the bookmakers who made the lines themselves, not just our boy Jimmy.
That is Jimmy Shapiro from BetOnline AG.
All right. BetOnline AG comes out, and they roll out the season total wins. Packers over under 7 wins. Jets over under 9.5 wins. 800-990-3776 on Twitter. At Scalzo and Russ posted the poll question as well. If you had to bet one, you have to bet one. Are you betting the Packers over 7 wins or the Jets over 9.5 wins?
It's easy for me.
It's easy for me too, but I think we're going to be on the opposite side of a lot of people.
It's the Jets. I know
it has to be.
It's the Jets. It has to be from the standpoint of they were 7-4 last year with a rotating carousel of losers of quarterbacks. Mike White, Joe Flacco, Zach Wilson, and then they lost 6 straight games to end the season. If there was enough talent on that roster and they're able to bring in a couple of weapons to help on the wide receiver front, good interior defensive line, add some pieces to help shore up that offensive line. If they were able to do that and they bring in Aaron Rodgers on a resurgence year after everyone's doubting him and all especially from the standpoint that the Packers moved on from him, right? Whether you believe that to be true or not as a Packer fan, Aaron Rodgers is in his head is going into next season, the Packers didn't want me. And Aaron with a vengeance is an Aaron that I want to bet with, and that is over 9.5. Give me double digits for the Jets, baby.
On Twitter, at Scalzo and Brust, the Scalzo and Brust family, 62% say Packers over 7 wins, 38% at Jets over 9.5 wins. I tend to agree with you. Basically, it's saying, are the Packers going to, they have to be the same record they were this year in order to win that bet. They have to go 8-9 to win that bet. At the quarterback position, whether you like it or not, that is a downgrade in this upcoming year. We'll see what happens thereafter. But
the downgrade by 3.5 spots of what the over-under was in 2022.
And you didn't really do much so far to to sort of up my confidence elsewhere on the team. They haven't made any big moves. You still have a whole lot of questions on your edge because you don't know how healthy Rashawn Gary is going to come back. I just think it's more likely that the Packers falter than the Jets falter. Now, the big thing is if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt for the Jets, what does that look like? Can Zach Wilson come in and win some games? But I think with Rodgers healthy, you have to anticipate this being a 9-10 win team. I could see the Packers potentially falling to a 5-win season where things get disappointing. And once that disappointment happens, right, once you smell death in a team,
After losing a franchise quarterback,
it kind of affects everything that you do. I could also, though, see this team being like Carolina was last year where they win a couple games. We're like, how exactly did they win this game? And but they just do because they figure it out, and it's the NFL. If I had to bet on both, I would take the over on both, to be honest. But if I had to choose one, I would take the over with the Jets at 9.5, more so than the Packers. The Packers win. I think 7 is the right number. If that's 6.5, I feel really much better about it. I just feel like they're a lot more likely to win 6 games than 8 games.
And my favorite part about all this is the Packers over-under is putting them at a place in which every fan of the Green Bay Packers was like, well, Jordan Love could have got the team to 8-9. Well, we'll see, because that's literally the number in which Vegas is asking you just to get to 8-9. Like, just to get to 8-9, which probably isn't a play-in game for this season for the Green Bay Packers to make the playoffs. I still have it all written down. I emailed myself the one day that we were asking the Scalzo and Brust family how far Jordan Love could take this team. Hearing wild card, hearing 11 wins, hearing 10 wins consistently, a 7-win over-under total from Vegas, if you're that confident, go on and place a bet. Or if I could, and I could hold your money like a bookie, I would gladly hold over 8 wins for all you 10-win wild card fans out there.
JJ in Poynette wants to know if we've accounted for schedules. The Jets' schedule is brutal. I always think the schedule game every year is a tough one to play because you don't know exactly who's up, who's down, what's going to be, what's it going to look like. And those conferences, like we mentioned last year in the AFC West, we thought was going to be the toughest division in football, or excuse me, the AFC. Yeah, it was the AFC West, and it actually ended up being, the NFC East. It was way more competitive than anybody gave it credit for.
Every single
year. The
year.
non-AFC East opponents for the Jets include the Chiefs, which is very difficult, the Eagles, which is very difficult, then the Chargers, Commanders, Texans, and Falcons, all of those being at home, which are 4 very winnable games at home. On the road against the Broncos, Raiders, Cowboys, Giants, and Browns, and all of those games, in my opinion, with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, are very winnable games for the Jets. Not saying they'll win all 5 of those on the road, but I do think that when you look at it, it's going to be tough. You're still talking about Aaron Rodgers taking over a team that was 7-4 last year with a very good defense and an intriguing set of weapons on the outside, albeit I don't think they're as good as other people are making them out to be.
The Green Bay Packers schedule every single year that we do this, you look at one of the games and you're like, oh, circle your calendar. This is going to be the game. And then by the time that game rolls around 3/4 way through the season, you're like, oh, this game sucks. And that was the Rams-Packers this past year. I believe that was a Monday Night Football game. And it was a god-awful Rams team that came into Lambeau Field. And the Packers won, but was Baker the quarterback at that point against the Packers? I don't remember. And that's the point, is I remember circling that one. So I can't wait to see McVay and LaFleur. Schedule games impossible. Vegas has done, like when they put these odds out, they've done enough research for all of us to incorporate road, home games that are going to matter and not matter.
On Twitter, at Scalzo and Brust, continue to vote. If you had to take one or the other, you're taking the Packers over 7 wins or the Jets over 9.5. Bill, the official and unofficial clergy person of the Scalzo and Brust family, says so many players have left the team. We don't have any idea what the roster looks like now. How can we even guess a win total? Still know the core of the team.
What could drastically change that number?
I mean, I don't know what ramps it, like what moves it up. Like, that's my question. Like, what makes you think that this team, like, where has the Packers gotten better from the end of last season into the beginning of next season? Is there anywhere you could point to and say they're better there outside of maybe special teams?
No. But if you want to go position by position, we can, but the answer is no. Kenny Clark's getting older, right? He underperformed last year. Devondre Campbell underperformed last year. I guess maybe, a bounce back year for Devondre Campbell with Quay Walker in his second year that showed some promise. Maybe the inside of the defense is better from that standpoint. But Preston Smith's getting older, and Rashawn Gary's coming off an ACL, and the Packers were pathetic at rushing the passer. To think that they can just roll that back out and haven't signed a free agent, or to think that they can draft a pass rusher and that's going to change everything is like, I'm very much under 7 with what the front office has done. Matter of fact, all the Packer fans that we talked to gave 85% of our poll a D or an F in terms of the Packers offseason because they don't believe that they've done anything to make this team better, which is fascinating why they think the Packers would win 7 more games, more than 7 games.
Delusion. 262 says when they draft Dalton Kincaid at 15, that will help the offense and the existing wide receivers. I think that's a little bit A little bit too hopeful from a rookie tight end, which tends to be a very difficult position for rookies to make an impact on during their first year. Even ones drafted in the top 10, like TJ Hawkinson, or although Pitts had a good year one, not a great year two. I do want to give a shout out to somebody who always delivers, and always delivers a straight A+, and that's Gina Dell and Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Make this winter the last time you give your windows the old saran wrap insulation treatment. And considering it still feels like winter and there's snow on the ground and we're almost into April, we're all sick of it. You're probably so sick of it. So why do it anymore? Call Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin today. Plus, the beauty of getting new windows and doors from Pella is that they're able to customize to match your unique home decor. I've got very unique home decor. When they put in beautiful patio doors in for windows in my home to open up the whole place, they painted it perfectly, matched all of the hardware perfectly. It looks like it was built there from the very beginning. They'll paint, stain, or leave bare, whatever you decide looks best. Get 0% financing for up to 4 years, but you have to call now because that offer ends at the end of the month. PellaWI.com/radio, PellaWI.com/radio for 0% financing for 48 months. You have to bet one way or the other. You're taking the Jets over 9.5 wins, the Packers over 7 wins. And I want to start to dive in more of what we think we're going to hear next from Brian Gutekunst. We don't know when he's talking, but he is talking this afternoon. We'll find out soon. It is Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light.
You're listening to Bud Light, Scalzo and Brust.
76% of people say they wouldn't take relationship advice from Homer.
Yeah, they can
Homer,
all go to hell.
All right.
What is that? I've been married 40 years. It'll be 40. Who wouldn't listen to somebody on
this is helping your cause. Doesn't even know the amount of years he's
40
been married.
or 41.
Subscribe and listen to full show podcasts available free on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
We're still dealing with that crash just past Silver Spring heading south on 43. You'll be slowing down for quite a while from Brown Deer all the way down to Hampton. You're looking at about a 45-minute delay there. Otherwise, 94 westbound is starting to slow down just a bit here, too. You'll be tapping on the brakes from 25th through the Stadium interchange, about a 5-minute delay there. Everything else is all clear for your commute. In time for a look at your Storm Team forecast. Tonight, increasing clouds with a low of 28, and tomorrow, partly cloudy with a high of 45. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Finn Askin on 94.5 ESPN.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Football guy.
Are you cutting me out of the show and talking to Jesse and, ignoring me?
Football guy.
We're going to take calls. You're not a fan. This is a fan-related question. This is
be optimistic about the team without cheering for the team.
Coming at it from different views.
Go ahead. You guys have a segment. Go right ahead.
What do you got, Jesse?
Hey, Tausch.
Oh, how nice of you to give him airtime.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Weekdays 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN. And available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
When it's time for an adventure on the open highway, one quick call to American Family Insurance gets you headed in the right direction. Our travel peace of mind package is there if you encounter a bump in the road. From roadside assistance to rental car coverage, we have you covered. Find a local agent or get a quote at amfam.com.
American Family Insurance.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Even when you think you know what's going on,
I want him to fail so bad.
All right, Chewy, I'm with you, and here's why.
You can never be too sure.
Because if Robert Saleh fails, he's going to get fired. Packers are going to need a new defensive coordinator.
There you go.
After their defense stinks this year, they bring Robert Saleh to run the defensive green.
So we are all rooting against the Jets.
Packers, nonsense, chaos. Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, mornings 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Kevin Moret here from Mentality Men's Health. Guys, did you know that the stored belly fat reduces your free testosterone? The more the belly grows, the harder it is to drop, mostly because of the decrease in free T. It's a vicious cycle that men are losing, and unfortunately, everyone can see it. Mentality breaks that cycle with semaglutide, an industry-changing weight loss medication that can help you lose up to 15% of your body weight while preserving your testosterone. Join our over 20,000 clients to look and feel the way you deserve. In Milwaukee, go to lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
Spending more time at home? Don't forget that 94.5 ESPN's on your smart speaker. Just ask Alexa to open 94.5 ESPN. 94.5 ESPN on Alexa is presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
The best quality roofs, siding, windows, and doors, expertly installed and at an affordable price. Hi, this is Bo from Ridgetop Exteriors. Integrity, excellence, quality, and community are what we value here at Ridgetop because we want to do a great job to help our friends and neighbors. We always want to exceed expectations because customer service is our number one goal. We're trusted local experts you can count on for your home exterior projects. Thanks for choosing Ridgetop Exteriors for your home's next project. Go to ridgetopexteriors.com for a free estimate.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Bud Light and streaming live on Wisconsin On Demand.
JJ in Poinet believes, in response to us asking, what have the Packers actually done to get better from 22 to 23, says not having Amari Rodgers returning punts might be a 2-game bump. Take them from 8 wins to 10 wins.
I mean, they definitely would have made the playoffs if they had the stones to actually move on from somebody that wasn't good at football but was a good character guy, which is a failure at the front office again.
We'll be hearing at some point from Goody today at the NFL meetings there at the Biltmore in Arizona. And we heard, the day starts really with Lamar Jackson requesting a trade via Twitter, which is what you do, I guess, when you don't have an agent.
Yeah, the agent would have likely leaked it to a news outlet.
So he requests a trade. That becomes the hot story of the day. And immediately, not immediately, but not long after, Joe Douglas, the GM of the New York Jets, was asked about that and basically said, nope, that would be disingenuous. We have our plan. We've got our route. We're sticking to it, meaning, hey, we're committed to Rodgers. This Rodgers thing is actually going to happen. We're going to bring Rodgers to New York, and we're going to try to go for it for this year. I think that means that they're probably not making a trade before this upcoming draft, possibly not until after June 1. But as that continues to linger on, right, and that idea of Lamar Jackson continues to linger on, it catches more and more energy. Goody speaks this afternoon, or shortly, I'm guessing, right? We're 2 hours behind right now. It's 3:20 out in Arizona. What do you think his tone is going to be? Because Douglas kept it pretty quiet, pretty simple, pretty forthright. Here's what we're going to do. We're sticking to our plan. What do you think Goody is going to do? A guy who's not the best in front of a camera or microphone, somebody who's much more comfortable sitting in a padded room watching film on, fifth-round guards than he is speaking to the world about the dynamic relationship between Aaron Rodgers, the Packers, and an impending trade that everyone believes will happen, but nobody knows exactly what is involved in the trade.
I think Goot got lucky because at this point, Mark Murphy spoke up and kind of ruffled a lot of the media feathers by saying, if they didn't get what they want, like they're trying to move on from Aaron Rodgers and this, that, and the other thing. And then Aaron Rodgers made his intentions clear. I think Goody's just going to be like, hey, we thank Aaron for what he's done as a Green Bay Packer, but we want to make sure that we do what's best for our organization, and we're excited about Jordan Love. The Jordan Love propaganda from Goot is going to be high. And it's going to be interesting because the more that Goot puts his name on Jordan Love, because it's already there, right? He drafted him in 2020. He traded up for him as Aaron Rodgers' replacement, and he's now going to have an opportunity to show that. But the more and more Goot stands behind Jordan Love, the more and more he's going to be tied to the success of Jordan Love, and that's where I think he's going to go. He's not going to.
So you think he's going to sidestep any Rodgers conversation and just go right to we're excited about Jordan Love?
It's about the Green Bay Packers. It's about Jordan Love, and when we feel like we are in a good place with the Jets from a value standpoint in the trade, we're going to get something done. But it will be interesting, though. The one thing I am curious to hear from Goot versus Douglas was saying there's no urgency. I want to hear if Goot says there's urgency, because then we'll really find out if the Packers are trying to move at a fast pace to try and get one of the Jets picks this year, or if they're okay waiting until after the NFL draft and working out compensation post June 1st.
Will it help the Packers or the Packers front office for Goody to kind of come out and, in a way, refute some of the things that Aaron Rodgers said, or to try and set the record straight? You know how Aaron Rodgers went on his long soliloquy on Pat McAfee.
He actually inserted facts into the conversation,
and discussed it at length. Do you think the Packers could do anything along those lines that would serve them at all?
I don't think so. At this point, the fans have moved on from Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, the Packers have moved on. The fans have moved on. The last thing the Packers want to do is get into a petty off with Aaron Rodgers about trying to win the PR battle. If anything, like, this is great for the Packers. Aaron's like, hey, I intend to play for the Jets. Mark Murphy said all these things, and off we go. Like, who cares now at this point? The Packers' number one goal should be doing what's best for the Packers. And getting into a PR war about the Aaron Rodgers saga just brings them backwards and not forwards.
800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. What do you want to hear from Brian Gutekunst? What do you think we will hear from Goody when he speaks out eventually at some point today from the NFL meetings?
I want to hear Goody answer the question of, what if Aaron Rodgers doesn't get traded? Or is there any scenario where you bring him back? Like, you've got a timeline. What if the timeline you have doesn't work?
I don't think he'll talk about it. I hope he's asked about it. I think that the timeline and the idea of leverage are two things that are constantly a part of this conversation, and really is the conversation. If we feel like we know what the result is, the question is, how does it get to the result? I think he's going to completely sidestep it and talk about the process and talk about how, they're ultimately doing what's best for the organization. I think we get nothing out of Goody. I think he's going to be intentionally not like combative, but just intentionally dull, not say anything.
Intentionally himself.
But what I want to hear I want to hear the timeline question answered, but I also want to hear like the money stuff. And we won't do it, but I just want to hear like how much of that is actually value. Like, the Packers are such a unique franchise where it does mean something. Now, they can go out and do a stock sale and make up for it, but it does mean something if you just light $60 million on fire. Like, it does. You don't have a multi-billionaire owner who's paid $4 billion for the team who's going to come in and be like, yeah, whatever, that hurts, that $60 million, but can I use that as a tax write-off? Like, it's still a Packers team that has gotten really fat because of the success they've had over the last 30 years with two Hall of Fame quarterbacks. They have to, as an organization, have a contingency plan for if their fans ultimately, not necessarily turn on the organization, but the world starts to change, the culture starts to change, and like, things just don't go as well as they have over the last 20 years. If money starts to fade a little bit, and the idea of burning $60 million is significant. So I want to know, like, are you willing to take a lesser pick if it means you're basically moving the money more over to the Jets? If Woody Johnson's willing to pay more of this, are
as
you
a
willing
tax
to take
write-off
less? Or is this something that is really about the value for the franchise as far as what it means for the product on the field? You'll never get an honest answer out of it.
I was just going to say, that sounds like a phenomenal question. I think you should ask Goody, but it's the ultimate, like, yeah, those are all things that Russ is going to figure out. It's the same answer. Russ with the money thing, I'm going to evaluate players, and he's not going to give us a whole lot.
352 says, I want to hear Goody say we're trading for Lamar. I don't think the Packers are going to be in on Lamar Jackson. You've got one quarterback in Aaron Rodgers that won't want to play for the Ravens. You've got...
What about a three-way trade? Jordan Love to the Ravens. What is my wee-wee doing right now? Lamar to the Packers, Aaron to the Jets. Let's get crazy.
Could get crazy. What do you do with Jordan Love?
To Baltimore. Young quarterback for them to build around.
Here's an idea. What about 2 separate trades?
I was going to say, I was very confused. It's not really 3 trades happening.
You trade Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, and then you acquire Lamar Jackson from the Ravens.
For Jordan Love and picks?
Yeah.
Would you want that?
I would.
I don't think you have a coach that knows how to handle him. And that's not even a slight against LaFleur. Like, you need to build your entire organization and offense around Lamar Jackson. It would take at least a year to turn around after that. But
I mean, they got a year anyway. I mean, even if they get Lamar Jackson, the Packers aren't in a position for them to win next year with Lamar Jackson. If they're gonna build around. I mean, this is
Teddy from Watertown just says Brust got a 3-way on the mind. And then Ron in the Key wants you to weigh in on the foul at the end of the Creighton game.
Do you want me to weigh in on it?
Let's hear it.
It's a foul. It's a foul. It's not even a controversy. The controversy is that everyone's making it about the foul. I am a big proponent of if you are guarding somebody and you put yourself in a position to get a foul called on you, that is your fault. He was on his hip. He extended his arm. Even if it wasn't a foul, perception is everything. It looked like a foul. Show your hands. Don't give the refs an opportunity to call the foul. And it was a foul. Gosh, I should be a referee, even though being a referee sounds horrible.
800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. You can get into the show right there. Got to tell you about Cedar Ridge Distillery, their original 86 bourbon, the best-selling bourbon in Iowa for the 3rd year in a row. Now making a home in Wisconsin, but one of my favorites I got to tell you about is the quintessential, one of the highest awarded American single malts of 2022. It's the top 8 whiskey of 2022 by Wine Enthusiasts and the best American single malt of the year by John Barleycorn Awards. It is delicious. Plus, you got to try the Scalzo and Brust private barrel bourbon and rye whiskeys from Cedar Ridge. We worked hard on these, went down to Swisher, Iowa, picked the best bourbons and rye whiskey that we could for you. The Scalzo and Brust family, check them out. Discount Liquor in Waukesha and Milwaukee, Steve's Liquor in the Madison area, and of course enjoy at Buck and Honey's in the Madison area. Brian Gutekunst's talking right now in Arizona. We'll tell you what he says next. It's Scalzo and Brust presented by Bud Light.
You're listening to Bud Light, Scalzo, and Brust.
Chance you actually ever get this tattoo is what?
65. Like, it's growing in actuality of percent chance I get this. Other than the fact that my dad claims he'd be mad at me.
Hurts?
No, I'm tough. I mean, I don't know what's so funny about that.
You're notoriously not tough. You're notoriously terrified of needles.
No. I'm not scared of needles. I'm scared of medical things.
Subscribe and listen to full show podcasts available free on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
We are still dealing with that crash just past Silver Spring, heading south on 43. You'll be slowing down for quite a while from Brown Deer all the way down to Hampton. Things are speeding up just a bit. You're looking at a 45-minute delay now instead of 55 minutes. 94 westbound is back to running smoothly. No delays there, but we do now have some delays running on 41 south from about Swan Boulevard down to the Zoo interchange. That's about 10 minutes slow at the moment. Everything else is looking good for your commute. Traffic is brought to you by Evans Transportation in Brookfield, where they provide customized logistics solutions to keep you and your business moving forward. And now for a look at your Storm Team forecast. Tonight, increasing clouds with a low of 28. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a high of 45. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Finn Askin on 94.5 ESPN.
Show me your Guinness. We want to see you enjoying Guinness Pints this month at your favorite Milwaukee area establishments. Take a picture with your Guinness, scan the QR code, and enter to win amazing prizes all month when you show me your Guinness. Station updates, show clips, and your place to interact with us every single day just by scrolling through your feed. Follow along on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at ESPN Milwaukee.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank. For many of us, there's always that one thing we're saving for. And if you're a homeowner, now's the time to use that equity. Set up a hassle-free home equity loan or line of credit with Great Midwest Bank to cover renovations, education costs, debt consolidation, or just as an emergency fund. You'll experience a state of tranquility when you discover how easy it is to help pay for your one thing. Find us at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
Individual rates, coverage offerings, and savings may vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Not available in all areas. Actual Pi customer.
The other workers' comp insurance company, they were going to reclassify our business, and then they were going to charge me $50,000.
Meet Natalie, owner of the carpentry shop. Shocked by an unexpected bill, she knew it was time to switch her workers' comp provider. That's when she found Pi Insurance.
When we got the quote back from Pi, it was a sigh of relief. They put us in a policy where we fit.
Is your small business overpaying for workers' comp insurance? See how much you could save at trypi.com. Plus, when you sign up for pay-as-you-go billing, your premium is based on your actual payroll, not an estimate. So your workers' comp audit experience is simplified.
I'm grateful that there's a company out there that's willing to insure us little guys because every dollar counts.
With Pi Insurance, you get pricing and coverage made for small businesses. What are you waiting for? Ask your agent for Pi or get a quote in 3 minutes at trypi.com. That's TRYPIE.com.
One's a Marquette Hall of Famer.
Are you feeling excited about the season? Yeah, I already know the answer. That's why you're taking so long to answer.
The other may or not make things up from time to time.
There's an excitement level that exists. I want to see how good Jordan
for football
Love is.
in general.
I want to see how good Jordan Love is.
Homer and Tony.
You just don't want to admit you're not excited.
No, I'm excited, but I already said I understand they're not going to be really good.
So you're excited for a bad team.
Not bad, average.
Weekdays 2 to 4 on 94.5 ESPN.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Missed any of the show? Find us on Wisconsin On Demand wherever you get your podcasts. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's for you.
Scalzo and Brust presented by the world's greatest fear. What?
Nothing. I'm just excited about
You just wore a Jesse Nelson hat for a moment.
We are similar sometimes.
Occasionally. Ben's mad at him that I snapped at him quickly as Brian Gutekunst spoke at the NFL meetings down in Arizona. Beautiful Biltmore Resort, where I stayed just a few weeks ago.
Cool.
Thank you. See, Ben's not even smiling anymore. He took that to heart.
You just yelled at me.
Rodgers winning Goody in the front office of the Green Bay Packers a couple weeks ago on Pat McAfee when he appeared on that Wednesday. Goody absorbed the blow, and he sent a counterpunch right back at Aaron Rodgers, alleging that he was trying to have a direct conversation with Aaron all offseason, but Aaron wasn't answering the phone, that Jordan Love is the starter for the Packers, and things are trending towards trading Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, albeit a first-round pick, not a necessity, but he wants fair value for a premier player. Here is Brian Gutekunst talking about the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers live from Arizona.
He comes out a couple weeks ago and says you based everything you and Aaron did to, I don't want to say repair the relationship of the last 2 years after he, said everything he did a couple years ago. Then he comes out a couple weeks ago and says you basically went behind his back to shop him and he didn't seem too pleased. From your perspective, how did the last couple months kind of transpire?
Yeah, I didn't really take his comments like that, and it's certainly not true. I mean, I think, as we got out of the offseason or after the season and we had a good conversation, and then, we're going to have some follow-up conversations. And our inability to reach him or for him to respond in any way, I think at that point, then we just kind of had to do my job and kind of reach out and understanding that a trade could be possible and see who was interested. But that shopping was never really part of that.
So when you gave him that contract extension, you've said publicly your intention was for him to not just play last season, to play beyond that. At what point did it shift to, okay, we need to move on?
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously it was a disappointing season, right? And you come out of the season, you have a lot of conversations, not only with Aaron, but with the rest of the team, coaches, and everybody. And as you go through that process, you kind of get an idea of where you're going to move to, as a team, how you're going to go forward. And I think I was really looking forward to the conversations with Aaron to see how he fit into that. Those never transpired. So, there came a time where we kind of had to make some, decisions. So we went through his representatives to try to kind of talk to him where we were going with our team. And at that point, they informed us they would like to be traded to the Jets.
But you just said you did try and reach out to have those conversations, what you said. Okay.
Damn.
Ding, 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 ding. I can't wait for the rebuttal. The rebuttal to the rebuttal to the rebuttal to the rebuttal. I want a back and forth now. I love that Goody, we just did a segment basically saying, Goody's going to be like, I want to do what's best for the organization, take the high road.
I could not have been more wrong. Pat on the back to me. That was a direct contradiction of what Aaron Rodgers had said, basically calling Aaron Rodgers out for being a liar and saying that he had been trying to contact him all offseason. Now, the way that he said it and how he said it during that clip, the timeline of all of this is going to get really annoying, and it's going to come down to semantics.
I feel like I'm in a murder mystery. I need to timestamp everything.
But the way that he said, and we reached out, and then we didn't hear back, and then his agents responded that he was looking for a trade to the Jets, implies that this was after he had gotten out of the darkness. Like, I don't know when or what happened, because they obviously all agreed that they had a good conversation before Aaron left Green Bay. And you could say Aaron stretched the truth. He lied to people when he said, I'm immunized, and made it seem like he was
vaccinated.
But it was whether I think it's a clear lie, but you could make the argument it was sort of a semantic whatever. Aaron saying that he never heard from the Packers, and then all of a sudden they were shopping him around. If they were calling him and he just wasn't answering, like, that to me feels like way more of a direct lie. It's something I can't imagine Aaron Rodgers would do.
No.
I just don't think he would. Like,
it's hard for it really is hard for me to think like, hey, he's missed 3 calls and didn't call anyone back, or at the very least have his agent call back at that time, right? Like it's easy for Joshy to sit back there and be like, Aaron Rodgers has lied in the past. Of course he lied about this. I would say the truth is somewhere in the middle. To me, it wasn't that Brian Gutekunst called Aaron and Aaron wasn't getting back to him. He probably sent him some text messages, and Aaron was whale watching, and
Well, this is just going to be a situation where each of their sides has their story. You've got Goody going to the media, right? Your traditional media, and telling his side. Aaron's going to go on McAfee and be like, no, he never reached out to me. He didn't reach out to my agents. Like, nobody contacted me. I was still making my decision.
The Packers knew that.
And it's going to come all down to him not wanting to know if he wants to play football or not. And everyone made it seem like the Packers were cool with that. And now the Packers are kind of making it seem like they were trying to rush him on a decision. Like, for a while, the Packers made it seem like, yeah, we're letting him have his time and do it. And now I think there's going to be a lot of revisionist history at play for whoever wants to do it.
What did Goody gain from saying that, though?
Well, it's just self-defense.
I guess I get it, but, do you want to stay in a back and forth with Aaron Rodgers? Because you bet your ass Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and say something about what Brian Gutekunst said, and then you're just caught in this back and forth. It's not about bettering your football organization. It's more about showing that you're going to show Aaron Rodgers up when you should be focusing on moving on and getting him out of there ASAP and building around Jordan Love.
Well, beyond that, Goody did say there's no timeline on trading Rodgers, and he doesn't need a first-round pick necessarily, but he ultimately does believe Rodgers is a premier player and wants fair value for that. Asked if Rodgers is going to play for Green Bay again, said not trending that way, but all options are on the table, which is just a classic, I have to at least leave something open. And so I think that ultimately the trade hasn't happened yet, and he's going to keep on playing this game. But that's going to be a big storyline this week, and I wonder if there's an Aaron Rodgers, Pat McAfee appearance now coming up on the timeline. This is like a WWE storyline. Like it's being written on a weekly basis where it's just this and like this was a WWE promo. You knew exactly what Goody expected, that he was expecting to say this, and he went out and he delivered it ultimately. It's amazing. Who do you trust more, Rodgers or Goody? 800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. Rodgers or Goody? Who do you trust more? We'll start with our guy, Bill in Green Bay. Bill, welcome to Scalzo and Brust, presented by Bud Light. What do you got?
Let's go, guys. Let's go, Pack.
Choo-choo.
Hey, guys. I think Goody's straight up lying. Let's put the brakes on this whole conversation here and think back when Aaron Rodgers had permission. The Jets asked the Packers for permission to go out, fly out, and talk to Aaron Rodgers out in California. That had to happen in there after he talked to Aaron, not the other way around. After he finally talked to him, that his agent said that he wants to get traded to the Jets. The Packers gave him permission to go out there and talk to him.
Thanks for the call, Bill. That was after Aaron felt like he was shopped around, and then they probably were like, "Hey, we want to be traded to the Jets," and they said, "Go ahead, go try that out."
Ultimately, Aaron Rodgers is under contract for the Green Bay Packers. He is a Green Bay Packer still right now. The GM having to call him to see if he fits into their future plans is the biggest HR BS way of saying, we're going to try to get rid of you, or are you going to do things differently, or whatever.
I mean,
Aaron Rodgers was.
He said all the.
Aaron Rodgers is still under contract for the Green Bay Packers, right? He was trying to make a decision if he wanted to retire or not retire, if he was going to stay with the Packers, not stay with the Packers. And then ultimately, Goody, if he wanted to shop him around, should have called him like a man, given him a heads up at the beginning of the offseason and said, hey, look, we're going in a new direction. This is what we want to do. And instead he did it. He let this wishy-washy stuff play out, and then when did he decide that he had to go and do his job? When Aaron Rodgers was away in the darkness. When Aaron Rodgers was literally underneath the cave was the first time Goody felt like he could step out like a man, breathe in some fresh air, and try to make a deal. So I get it. People are going to try to take Goody's side here. Everyone's going to be on Goody and the Packers side and be like, well, Rodgers was ditching them, blah, blah, blah. And that's exactly what this Packers organization and franchise has been doing for the last year, is trying to, the last few months, has been trying to tarnish the name of Aaron Rodgers on his way out of town and trash him to try to win this crap PR battle. And this is, to me, the latest of that.
And the latest of it is even the examples he's using of like how they got to the point of wanting to move on from Aaron Rodgers. He talked about like exit interviews and like talking with the entire organization and different teammates. Like basically he's saying, we don't want him. I'm now, the shield that I have is basically saying everyone else in the organization wanted to move on from him too. And I don't have the courage to say that myself. And so this is all false. Aaron's wrong. But I just think it's funny, like in that clip when he mentions like, yeah, we did all of our interviews. We had to figure out if he fit into our plans. And when he said that, he was referencing talking to all the different teammates. And that to me is just jargon. That's jargon. That's just him not having the cojones to finally say we want to move on from Aaron Rodgers. And this is what I'm saying to you, Greg. I don't get what he gained other than what you and Josh were saying. This is WWE. This is straight promo of the next battle of Aaron Rodgers and Goot. What does that get the Green Bay Packers?
Well, he's also got to defend his brand because free agents, veterans, people aren't going to want to play for an organization where players don't think very highly about the front office.
He really lands a lot of free agents, this Gutekunst guy.
He does it, and this could certainly be taken the other way, too, of, hey, man, you're calling out one of your players and one of your all-time greats for being a liar, whether it's true or it's not true. There's some things that, again,
shut up and do business.
Organization has a higher standard in my mind to keep things in-house than player does. Organization should take the high road more so than the player. Goody decides not to this time around.
We all get Rogered. Goody got Rogered there.
When I think of high road, I think of Stephen Watson. I think of Gabe Neitzel. The On the T-Boys join us next. It is Scalzo and Brust presented by Bud Light.
And I got to tell people about dayofthebadger.org because Stephen Watson, fellow UW alum, is going to be joining us. He wants to know about dayofthebadger.org, and it's coming tomorrow and the 28th, starting at 10:12 a.m. tomorrow. Day of the Badger is going to be open, dayofthebadger.org. And again, mark your calendar, campus achievements, alumni accomplishments, Badger Pride. You can share all of your spirit and give a gift at dayofthebadger.org. There are ways you can double your impact with matching. Again, the Chancellor's Fund, diversity, equality, and inclusion, financial aid scholarships. For me, the School of Ag and Life Sciences, where I graduated, is very important to me. The School of Business for Greg Scalzo. Josh DiMaggio is a pseudo-Badger. I'm sure he'll find a cause that is important to him and get involved. Dayofthebadger.org. That's right, dayofthebadger.org. We're getting started tomorrow, baby.
Hillsy chimes in, says neither. Two sides of the same lion coin. Who do you trust more, Rodgers or Goody? It's a lie-off. Scalzo and Brust back with the On the Tee boys getting ready for their season premiere of On the Tee. That's coming up next across ESPN Wisconsin.
You're listening to Bud Light, Scalzo, and Brust.
Clearly, you can have incredible talents and just be totally screwed up.
Were you referencing me?
No.
Okay. I just
not
wanted
at
to
all. You're not
clarify
screwed
that.
up at all. You're one of the best salespeople I've ever dealt with. I mean, on the air, you're weird, but...
Subscribe to the Scalzo and Brust podcast free on the Wisconsin On Demand app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Just because the buzzer hits doesn't mean the game ends. Highlights.
Holiday back to Giannis, and Giannis will staple it through with a two-hand jam.
Reaction.
Bucks have been very good. So we're talking about 3 months now that the Bucks have been the best team in the league, and the Bucks and the Sixers have been the 2 best teams by a wide margin.
Your thoughts.
Take care of the glass. You know, we need to do that, and we did it in the fourth quarter.
Nobody knows the Bucks like Justin Garcia. Catch Bucks Talk after every game right here on 94.5 ESPN.
Sunday. That's right, we're back on the air. Here at Great Lakes Dragaway, we're working hard to prepare for the 2023 race season with new and exciting events being finalized soon to add to our yearly races like Labor Day weekend, Memorial Day weekend, Nitrous Streetcar Brawl, Import Wars, and Bugfest. You can now take advantage of our early season pass sale. Go to GreatLakesDragaway.com for pricing and info. Don't forget to book your corporate or private event now as dates are filling up fast. Great Lakes Dragaway, just a burnout west of I-94 on County KR. Be there.
An ESPN Radio Extra Point with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
San Diego State beats Creighton, 6 seconds and change left. Refs blow the whistle. Do you think it was the right call, yes or no?
Was it a foul? Yes, but you swallow your whistle. I don't like when refs take end-of-game scenarios and make it about the call, especially if there isn't consistency with how you're calling the game. The first thing any athlete who plays basketball recognizes, the first 5 to 10 minutes of a game, refs typically dictate how they're calling games. So if I'm hand-checking you the first 5 minutes, oh, you calling that? Okay, no hand-checking. There have been a lot of those kind of plays throughout the course of the game, right? Guys, it's physical game, hands on the shoulders, hands on the sides. They haven't been making those calls. So then in the last play, when you go to make that call, why? You've been allowing us to play that way the entire game. Don't call a tic-tac foul.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everything.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
This Monday on the Tee is back. I'm Gabe Neitzel, and I'll be joined by Bally Sports Wisconsin Stephen Watson as we break down another full year of golf, not just on the PGA Tour, but also here in the state of Wisconsin. We'll have the match play to react to. Plus, what does this new proposed ball rollback by the USGA mean for you and your game every weekend? We'll break it all down and all season long. It's on the Tee, and it's Monday nights at 6 right here on 94.5 ESPN.
Wisconsin is as hard-working of a place as you'll ever find. There's a sense of pride, community, and work ethic that's second to none. People here are tough, But even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. At Gruber Law Offices, we won't stop fighting for you and your family. We've been here and will continue to be here for as long as you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Bud Light and streaming live on Wisconsin On Demand.
It's a good old-fashioned lie-off between Brian Gutekunst and Aaron Rodgers as Goody speaks at the NFL meetings down in Arizona and says, hey, I tried to reach out to Aaron a bunch this offseason. He didn't answer any of my calls, so I had to go out doing my job. I got some serious questions about all that, and we're going to get 12 different timelines from 15 different people that make out 37 different conclusions. And it'll be like a choose-your-own-adventure book depending on what you want. Ben Brust, Greg Scalzo, Josh DiMaggio here with you as we welcome in Stephen Watson and Gabe Neitzel, who you get to hear every Monday night at 6 o'clock on the Tee on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee from here through the end of the golf season. Season debut tonight.
Excited for it. Should be a good time. I mean, I know we just got the big snowfall, but hey, golf should be on everybody's mind. We're just 2 weeks away from, actually less than 2 weeks away from the Masters, teeing it up on a Thursday morning, and looking forward to everything happening in the golf season here in the state of Wisconsin. We've got a USGA National Open with the Senior Open up in Century World this year. Always something going on in Wisconsin.
Yeah, sorry, Stephen. How could I cut off the most handsome guy I see on TV?
I thought you were going to get to intro me. So
Stephen Watson, the most handsome man in Milwaukee. You see him on Valley Sports Wisconsin. Hear him on the Tee. Welcome, Stephen.
Thanks, Ben. I'm happy to be on camera with you, finally. This is a goal of mine.
Oh, I like this. I like this. For those we're streaming on ESPN Milwaukee for On the Tee, coming 6 to 7.
I mean, can you feel the tension in the room right now, Gabe?
Well, he was going to talk, and I cut him off.
And then you got really shy about it. Like, I know that he's an attractive guy, but you can still be yourself.
I just wanted to give him the guard down.
He got intimidated by the attractive man in the room.
Yeah, it happens. It happens to me recently. What I was going to ask is I really have no idea. Is Tiger playing in the Masters? Is that a thing?
He hasn't officially committed at this point, but given that he played last year and that was the surprise, going forward, if he doesn't play Augusta, I think it's going to be the shock. He played at Riviera, the tournament he hosts, the Genesis Open out in Los Angeles earlier this year. I think that was kind of a test run to make sure he can kind of go through 4 days, and made the cut, went through 4 days of walking a pretty hilly golf course out there. So my guess is, while he hasn't officially 100% committed quite yet, that we're going to get that news this upcoming Friday.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Tiger at all 4 majors this year.
Love it. One of my strongest golf takes that I will go back to is I said Scotty Scheffler's the next Tiger Woods. How's that looking, by the way? Pretty decent.
When was this take?
I want
to see the receipts.
You know what I'm talking
when
about.
When Scotty was leading on day 3
of the Masters. I say he's going to win every
3.
major moving forward and be the next Tiger Woods.
He just said he was going to win that tournament.
No. I'll air check myself on that one.
I will say this about the current state of golf. When it comes to winning majors, guys do it in bunches now. Like Rory McIlroy won his majors in like a 3-4 year window. Hasn't won one in 8 or 9 years at this point. Brooks Koepka won his 4 in a quick little window. That's kind of the way these things are working. Having the big long career that Tiger and even Phil, because he won his at the age of 50, back in 2021. Like, these types of things, they just, for whatever reason, this generation doesn't win them over a big span. It's just quick little short bursts where they have those opportunities to try to collect as many as they can.
Colin Morikawa, throw him on that list, too.
That's what you think. Scotty's going to win a couple this year.
Again, this would be his window, starting with last year's Masters. That being said, he didn't really fare well in the other majors after Augusta.
As you can tell, I don't know what I'm talking about. They're on
Greg is looking at you like you...
I mean, I just figured we'd talk a little golf, but maybe ask him about the whole Aaron Rodgers Goody thing that just blew up right now. You're going to have an hour of golf with these guys talking on the tee, and you don't ask them a single question of I don't know, who do you trust more? Or if you were going to be at the Masters with either Goody or Rodgers, who would you rather be there with? We don't know if Stephen Watson detests Aaron Rodgers the way that Josh DiMaggio does, or if he admires him the way that I do. We don't know anything about what they think about this situation.
There's always next Monday.
Scotty Scheffler.
You Scheffler bragged. You took 2 minutes to brag about Scotty.
I'm a big Scotty Scheffler fan. What can I say? What do you think about Rodgers and Goody?
I have 30 seconds to say what do I think about Rodgers and Goody.
Can you do that, Steven? You work in TV.
Quick. 3 seconds. I'm Team Packers.
Wow.
Wow.
Big Packers guy.
I'll give my take tomorrow morning, 7 to 9. Jen Gabe and Chewy right here on 94.5 ESPN.
Rod, you just toushed us. On the tee coming up next.
Weather is brought to you by Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center in Waukesha. Play Whistling Straits and other Pro Tour courses, whatever the weather is, in one of their 12